All right, that's fair. That's fair. I'll stamp that one down into the ScruffCast rules to live by. Stamped.
Lucky if you're in January and you have a friend born between the 29th and 31st. There is no February 30th and 31st. So you actually have until March for your end of January friends.
I guess, but even though it's the same amount of days, it feels like it's longer. Regardless, I stamped it away. We can't change it now.
Yeah, we're gonna take it up a few notches right now. See if y'all can keep up.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 51 of the ScruffCast. I'm John.
And I'm not Dan. I'm Caolan, filling in.
Yes, unfortunately, Dan couldn't make the podcast this week. He had prior commitments.
He's having too much fun.
He's having too much fun. He mentioned, I believe, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, he's like, I don't even want to do the podcast next week. Lo and behold, here he is the next week, not here. So
I've just been, watching the tape, being his understudy.
Yeah, when I sent out the text, Caolan jumped up out of his seat, was ready to take his place.
Yeah, everyone looked really concerned at work, and I was like, no, I'm doing this podcast. And then they asked me the type of podcast, and I said, it's a couple of guys making fun of the world that's taking itself too seriously.
And we're back again, ready to do the same this week. Yeah. So, just because one of our usual hosts isn't here doesn't mean we don't kick things off the same way we always do, with the question to ponder. Last week, a listener wrote in with an email, and they gave us a question to ponder. They wrote into scruffcast@gmail.com, which is where you can find us for your questions, inquiries, praise, whatever it may be. The question to ponder from last week: if you could only play one video game or one game console, we kind of said, you could pick one of each, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be a game from that console. For the rest of your life, what video game / console would you choose? Caolan, would you like to take the honors, or would you like me to go first?
I'll go first. So, this is one with a lot of, footnotes and questions I have kind of thing, but sure. I tried to keep it simple. So, for me, the issue with picking one console is that eventually they stop making games for it. And so I was always concerned about that. I was like, what if I pick something that whatever. So at first I was like, pick a PC then. But then I'm like, is that cheating that I can change all the parts?
That is tricky. I wouldn't classify a PC as a console.
Yeah, and I thought that too. So I think the best console in terms of longevity are the portable ones. So I think the newest one is the Nintendo Switch. And so being able to play portable, being able to play on the planes and all that stuff, so much more valuable than a console and a TV that's going to get a bit old. I can deal with a portable Switch getting old just for the fact that it's going to be portable. So that's my console of choice.
That's a good selection. For me, I would go with... See, because when you were worried about them stopping making games, I thought, what if you picked an older console, right? It's already had all its games released. I think it's something the PlayStation 2 had over 1,000 games released or something absurd. I don't know what the numbers are for the current generation of consoles, but my answer would actually be the PlayStation 4, which is one of the current gen consoles, because I already struggle to work through the big spreadsheet of games I have backlogged. So listeners obviously don't know this, but I have this meticulously maintained Google Sheets spreadsheet where I maintain the backlog of all the video games I have, coming down the line that I want to play, and they're categorized by their Metacritic score, which is just a website that averages the video game review scores, and how long it will take to beat them. And I have them if I beat the game, it gets checked off as green. If it's in progress, I highlighted orange.
I like that this has turned into bits and bytes within 5 minutes.
Yeah,
this is a
little bit. This is a little bits and bytes. We'll throw back to episode 49.
And next, let's cover gaming monitors. The new Vera 520. We're not doing that. Don't worry.
I'm sure most of the listeners have tuned out by now already, but
Dan's not here. I wouldn't listen.
I'm curious to see actually if he's going to listen.
I don't think he's going to.
I bet he is.
Well, we can do a little side bet. Just dip it into our playoff bracket pool.
Yeah, we've had the ScruffCast playoff bracket pool going for the NHL playoffs.
Really great we got that sponsorship,
Yeah.
The bracket got the ScruffCast sponsorship before the ScruffCast got a sponsorship.
Yeah, we wasn't there a thing we mentioned about we were like pimping out some ad or something on here not that long ago. And we're like, hey, if they want to sponsor us, we'd be all for it. But it was something we genuinely liked. I don't know. That's neither here nor there.
We've done it a couple times, like to different things.
We probably have. We're just giving them a little the corporations just a little preview of what the praise would be like.
It's true.
But back to the question of Ponder. Yeah, I have this meticulously managed spreadsheet of games that I want to play through. So I would just pick the current generation of consoles because let's say it's like, okay, the new ones have come out. They're going to stop making games for this. Perfect. Now maybe one day I'll reach the end of my spreadsheet.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're a completionist like you, like there's a lot to be said for, I'm just picking this one box and I'm going to fill it up. That's it.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse, I have so little time to actually play video games because of my meticulous gym regimen, but we'll save that for another podcast.
I've seen you out there, John. You're just working up a sweat, thinking about going to the gym.
So the other part of the question was if you had to pick a game in particular. So for me, I'd go back to my roots and pick the original Pokemon Red and Blue on the Game Boy. Well, not Game Boy Color, but I played on the Game Boy Color.
It's going to be hard to do on that PS4 you've exclusively linked yourself to.
Well, this is like
I have picked a Nintendo product and can pick a Pokemon game.
Yeah, but you can't pick Pokemon Red and Blue. It's not on the Switch.
That's true. Don't they make like emulators of all these games now, though?
Not on the Switch.
That's heartbreaking.
Well, I'm sure they'll figure it out one day.
Oh no, the new Pokemon Hello Pikachu or whatever it's called is just a remake.
Hello Pikachu?
I don't know what it's called.
Shaking my head. Let's go Pikachu and let's go Eevee.
I got the syllables right. I got like 50% on the syllables there. That's not bad.
I'll give you a little golf clap for the effort. Well done.
It's a very slow golf clap.
What would be your game of choice?
Yeah, this one's a tough one, especially if PC's not a console. Because initially I was like, like Civ is really fun. It has a lot of replay value. And like as much as I'm an NHL nut, I buy NHL every year. Really, yeah. I would get very sick of playing 1 year's worth of NHL over and over again. So I think I would go with an RPG of some sort. I think I liked Pokemon Red and Blue, but I really liked the next generation after because
Gold and
Silver, and then you'd beat it, and then you would go back to Pokemon Red and Blue.
As a kid, okay, so for listeners who my mom's listening to this and she's like, "What the hell are they talking about?" Right? The original Pokemon games that came out on the Game Boy, right? You play through, you have your Pokemon, you battle to become the best, the world champion, Pokemon Master. And you get your 8 badges, right, by beating all the gym leaders, and that's it. But then the next games came out, and it's like, a new world, new Pokemon, become the best. You battle the 8 gym leaders, and you're like, oh yeah, I did it again. But then they pull the old switcheroo on you, and they're like, now you get to go back to the world from the first game and play it again, kind of. And I remember as a kid, I have a specific memory of sitting at the kitchen table at my dad's house. And it just blew my mind. I was like, whoa, you get to go back? This is amazing. Yeah. And I don't think anything else in my life has topped that sense.
That's a little sad at the end there, John.
That's just how good it is. That's how good that was.
No, it's true, though. There's something to be said about, you live a certain portion of your life expecting a certain, volume of game, right? It's like, this game is going to take me X hours, and you beat the game, and there's a congratulations, you won screen. It looks like a game over screen.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're not done 50% of the game. Right?
It's in my top 5 memories of gaming.
If I had to compare it to something, it's imagine you were watching. I guess it's kind of like the Marvel series. So say you were watching the Avengers, the one before the most recent one. Infinity War.
Age of Ultron?
No, never mind. No. Infinity War. So you're watching Infinity War, right?
Yeah.
And you see the film, you're really enjoying it. It's like, oh, this is really good, right? And then it's the end. But then the next movie starts, right?
Right away.
Right away. All of a sudden, you weren't you thought you were gonna have to wait a while for a part 2, but no, it's attached to the end of the film.
But you know what? Things like that can't happen anymore.
No.
It gets spoiled too quick.
I know.
Right? The internet's ruined everything.
It really has.
Right? The only one good thing ever came out of the internet, and that's the ScruffCast. But other than that, it's just ruined everything.
We had very different answers to that question.
Right? Back in the day, you could have these sort of secrets, right? Be like, oh wow, what happens when I beat these, all the gym leaders? Well, you get to go back. It's amazing. But now, like, instantly they'd be like, spoiled right away. Go on Twitter and they'd be like, oh my god, you get to go to the other world. It's amazing.
Why, like, the phrase, like, no spoilers is, like, become so, like, rampant now. Like, I don't think that was something you'd say in the, 70s. Like, no one would be like, spoilers?
Yeah, because it was a lot harder to spoil things.
Yeah, you had to actually have a friend who was a douchebag. Like,
yeah, it'd have to be like, oh, I'm on the 7th, gym leader. And you'd be like, oh, well, I already beat the 8th gym leader. Then you go back and be like, you son of a bitch, Caolan, why would you ruin it for me?
You have someone to hold accountable.
Yeah, exactly.
But now it's just like, it's rampant. It's being bombarded at you. It's sliding into your DMs.
It's the worst. Just the worst.
Anyways, that's the question to ponder.
That was a question to ponder. So, listeners, write in to scruffcast@gmail.com or find us on Twitter.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
At Bits and Bytes, right?
At Bits Bytes Pod, was it?
Did you make one?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
The account doesn't actually exist. I just put it in the in the description and everything.
Listeners at home, if you want some extra credit, go and create the Bits and Bytes Pod Twitter or Instagram handle and message the ScruffCast, and we'll friend you back.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
I actually have no power to do any of that, but
you've got some good ideas, Caolan. You got some good ideas.
I have more time to come up with them. I got like 25 episodes between appearances, right? So
that's true. I don't remember the episode number you're on last time.
Neither.
I think it was like 14, 15. Regardless, onto the actual content of the podcast, I suppose. By now, I'm sure my mom's wasted half her drive to work, and she's like, just talk about Pokemon the whole goddamn time. Well, you know what? I like Pokemon, so whatever.
This has kind of ruined my commute, because now I've nothing to listen to that's, like, brand new. I'm probably going to listen to this anyways.
You're going to listen back? Are you going to, like, harshly judge yourself, or are you going to appreciate it more because you're on it?
I mean, I think I'm going to harshly judge myself, because that's what I spend most of my mornings doing.
Well, right? There you go. So, the ScruffCast, an easy way to distract yourself from wallowing in harsh judgments.
That's when I'm thinking about going to the gym. It's like, I really got to go to the gym. Really got to do it.
There's a guy at work who, has that, like, active lifestyle. He's in good shape, eats well and everything. This was about a year and a bit ago. Went to the gym, and I can't remember exactly what he's doing. He, like, stepped up on some, like, step stool or something or whatever, and then, went to step off. Boom! Like, twisted his knee. Had to get knee surgery.
Huh.
And I'm like, damn, that's why you don't go to the gym.
I'm getting knee surgery, actually.
Are you?
Yeah, I just got back from the doctor. My knee's been, like, bugging me, but not enough to do anything about it. But I got on this kick where I'm like, all right, every little thing that's bugging me, right? All the non-consequential stuff, I'm just going to lay down a list and go to the doctor. It's like, man, my knee hurts, and, like, my shoulder, like, doesn't go this way when I do this and all that. So I've just been, like, dealing with that for, like, 6 months kind of thing. So anyways, they like did an x-ray. They're like, well, nothing's broken. And they did an ultrasound. They're like, hang on, something's there. And they did an MRI. And I was like, oh my God, that's for, like, sick people, right? So they do that. It took them like a month to get back to me. And he goes, oh, you got to come in on, like, next Monday. And I'm like, I got things to do. I got a podcast to record. I didn't know this at the time, but I did have a podcast to record today. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to send you to a surgeon. You got a little thing. We're just going to nick it off and then you'll be fine. And I was like, I've been limping around on this knee for like 6 years, and I could have got it done, so, yeah. Anyways,
well, but you were living in the United States for a while, so
that's true.
Would have been free.
Absolutely avoiding any kind of, like, medical engagement. I lost, like, hearing in my ear for, like, a week in the States, because, like, I assume it was just, like, a cold or ear infection, but I was like, I'm not going to the doctor. That's going to cost me a fortune.
You know what? If I had to pay for... Well, I hate going to the doctor now as it is. Yeah. But if I had to pay for any sort of healthcare, no way I'd be going in. I'd have to be, like, dying to be like, I'm going in.
Oh, totally. And, like, it was really tough because obviously I grew up in Canada and I had a certain assumption of how healthcare worked. Now, healthcare is not free in Canada, right? You pay for their taxes. And even then, when you go in, you get a doctor's visit and you get emergency services for free, but the majority of kind of what we're calling ancillary services aren't free, right? So if you need drugs, you actually pay for the drugs. If you need
like physiotherapy,
that's not covered. Chiropractic is not covered. Chiropody, which is like podiatrists, isn't covered. All this stuff that's like, hey, I can't walk right. It's like, that sucks. You still gotta pay
you
for
can't
it.
walk right, but you still live. You just limp
That's
a little.
the thing.
All
But
over
if
the
your
place.
leg was like cut off, they would fix it.
Yeah.
So you have to be injured enough for it to be free in Canada. Anyways, enough about making fun of Canada. Let's make fun of the state system. So we don't pay for that in Canada, right? Or
Yes.
if you can get like extra insurance through work or something. So in the States, when I got my job, they said, oh, what kind of health insurance do you want? And it was basically a low, medium, high system, right?
And then that just affects like, oh, you got to pay this much or that much or that much.
Yeah, it was more about like lifetime maximums and like, I think it was something like if you had kids or a wife, like you had dependents, it made more sense to get high. Or if you like really old.
Why? Because they're like stressing you out?
No.
Do you want to get high?
Get the high level of coverage.
Oh, I see.
Thank you, Mr. Pedant. So yeah, so anyway, but like I was a terrified Canadian who heard all these horror stories of the US, so I got high and everyone made fun of me at work. And then so I guess it comes up that, I guess it was when my ears stopped working because I had a cold or something. I'm like, oh, I gotta go to the doctor, I gotta deal with this, right? So I go in after paying like X $100 a month in insurance, being like, I gotta be covered, right? I go in and I still had to pay $50 for the doctor's visit. I was like, what's the point?
Yeah, that's pretty shitty. But you know what? You get the high plan or whatever. That's a lose-lose because you never want to have to use it, right? So then you're like, everything's clear. But you almost want to use it so you can be like, to your coworkers, see, good thing I got the high plan.
I got my value out of that one.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, but you don't get like insurance on your car and then try to bang it into people, like, it's not. And I actually explained it to them, like, nobody gets insurance because they know something bad's going to happen, right?
No, that's true.
So yeah, I can spend a whole podcast just dumping on the States, but I don't know that that's the content we want to circle in on.
We may have international listeners.
That's true.
I
was listening when I lived in the States, actually.
Yes, we proliferated out into a multitude of countries around the world.
Like Pandemic, the game. Another game I could play forever. That's a really good
The listeners are like, what the hell's Pandemic? Now you got to tell them a little bit about what it is.
Oh, I can't bring up anything on this.
No, well, you can, but I just try to assume that the listeners don't always know.
So Pandemic is used to be a web browser game, but now, like most web browser games, has become a mobile game. That you basically create a disease, like a virus.
Yeah.
And you are like the virus, and it's your goal to infect the entire world, right? Mm-hmm. Seems simple enough. So it kind of has an overlay of a map of the world on the screen, and you pick your starting locations, and then as you kind of infect people, there's like trains and buses going to different cities, and that's how you can kind of get to them. And then you can kind of upgrade your virus or whatever. But then you get some things where it's like, Greenland has shut off all tourism, so nobody can fly to Greenland anymore, or Australia has completely inoculated against the disease and all this stuff. So yeah, it's just a game about spreading to other countries, much like the ScruffCast.
Except we're not a disease. We bring like fun times, right? I don't want to be compared to like Ebola.
You're like an addictive web browser game. That's what I was comparing.
The ScruffCast, addictive, bad for your health because you can laugh so much you can be in stitches. All right.
And inoculated against in Greenland.
Yes, as far as I know, we don't have any Greenland listeners. Greenland, step it up.
Greenlandian,
Greenlandian,
Greenlish. Like Irish? Irish?
Greenlish is definitely not it. It doesn't sound correct.
Greeish.
If we were another sort of podcast, we'd look it up. But we're not. So we'll just move on to the next little note I have here, which is, so we've been saying we should be in our new studio by now. Spoilers, we're not. All right, that's the whole note. On to the next thing here.
For me, this is a new studio.
For you, it is. It is a new studio. And I got to say, you do look quite comfy. You're sitting in the leather or faux leather chair that Dan usually sits in, but you're making it look comfier than he is.
Is it the foot up move that I'm doing?
It's the foot up. You're on a bit of an angle too.
Yeah, so I'm
got a little heater set up.
Yeah, I was cold.
We treat the talent correct here. Got you a little bottle of water.
That's right. Yeah, I want my green M&Ms at the end. The full rider list.
Yeah.
I've got my feet on the table, which is very disrespectful. But John said get comfy. I'm getting comfy.
I did I say get comfy?
Well, I got comfy anyway.
Well, whether I liked it or not, you got comfy. All right. So one of the reasons Dan couldn't make the podcast this week is last week was his birthday, and he is out today for a birthday celebration type thing, right?
Yeah. As per my usual tradition, I texted Danny roughly a week later saying happy belated birthday.
Yes, which leads us into a discussion I want to have, which is how late can you say happy belated blank, whatever it may be. In this case, a birthday. Sometimes it could be happy belated, I don't know, anniversary, Christmas.
There's a very
Easter.
narrow list of things you can say, right? Because, you wouldn't say happy belated wedding, right? You would say congratulations on your wedding, and it's actually okay to say significantly longer after, right? But let's get back to, birthdays. Birthday's pretty easy. So
Sure.
How late can you say happy belated birthday, right?
So, right away, my first thought is 15, 20 years ago, dude, you could wait almost a month.
Really?
Right? Well, if I don't see you, how am I talking to you? Right?
I mean, you can write letters. Oh, wait, 15 years ago, you could absolutely call someone.
Well, you could call, but you know what I mean? What am I going to do? Call you? It's your birthday, hey. Well, people still do that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always get a call from my uncle on my birthday. Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Actually, 15 years ago, we were on the edge of high school. And
Yeah.
instant messenger was a thing.
That's true.
Chat was a thing. And do you remember when people used to... I know we talked about instant messenger last week or something, but do you remember when people used to change their status and then sign out and sign back in? And that would create a little notification on your thing.
Oh, dude, I forgot about the notification.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So people would sign in with a name that they wanted people to see, right? And then, sign out and sign in, and it would, do a little pop-up in the bottom right of your screen.
Like,
and
John's offline, John's online.
Yeah, but it would say the name of the thing. So, people would do, happy birthday, John, with, the party face and all that stuff, and, fill up your screen with it.
I forgot all about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people used to bully with that, too. They just, put out stuff, nobody wanted, you would tell someone something, it's don't tell anyone, and then we'd just do that, 40 times.
I wonder which one of us was the bully.
Yeah, you guys suck. But yeah, so you're saying 15, 20 years ago.
I feel like in this world where we're more connected, the leash is shorter. Right? Because, maybe a week? Because after a week, you've already started to forget, oh, it was my birthday last week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's too much stuff going on. The world, it's happening. It's moving now.
Yeah, I get that.
Right?
I think, as I think more and more about this, I'm kind of doing it mathematically. All right, so you definitely can't do it the week before your next birthday, right? There's clear...
Definitely not. No.
But you know what I mean? There's clearly a point where you're closer to the next one than the one you just wanted to wish belated for.
It would be precisely 6 months and a day.
Right, so
Unless
is
the leap year,
6 months the limit? But I'm even that's a bit too late, I think.
Yeah, it's extreme. That's having half birthdays. You know what? So my sister, okay, who first off throws herself her own birthday soirees.
I think that's just being proactive, John. I'm not going to judge that.
Well, I'm just saying she's unique in that way. I've never.
I mean,
I don't know anybody else.
You could throw her a soiree, John. Maybe you need to step it up.
Probably, but I'm not going to.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm mentioning her on the podcast, instantly making her famous. That should be good enough. Regardless, a couple years ago, I think 2 years ago. Okay, her boyfriend's birthday is in April, I think, because I think it's coming up around sometime soon now. Anyways,
happy belated birthday.
I don't feel like it's past yet. I don't know, but anyways, 2 years ago, she was like, "Oh, I got this great idea. We never did anything for his birthday this year." So she was going up, to the cottage with him and with some of their friends and stuff. And she's like, "Okay." And this was in November, later in the year. She's like, "Okay, we never did anything for his birthday this year. So what we're gonna do, and his birthday's in April, we're gonna throw him a birthday party when we're up there." So she had a whole thing. It was happy birthday, banner and everything. Got a little table set up, all the pop and drinks and everything, blah blah blah. And I remember she sent me a picture. It was happy birthday, and it's just 6 months, 7-8 months after his birthday. I'm like, was he surprised? Of course he's surprised, right? You're definitely past the 6 month point at that point.
People do half birthdays too. Really conceited people. I hope nobody I know does this, but they're like, "Oh yeah, it's 6 months for my birthday. It's time for my half birthday," kind of thing.
That's kind of outrageous. Oh, wait, you're worried about people hearing this?
Yeah.
Are you telling me you're spreading the word of the podcast
Yeah,
to
I tell people about this. Yeah. I was like,
do they
guys,
listen?
I gotta go to work. I gotta leave work early. I gotta record a podcast because that sounds prestigious. You know?
Oh, it definitely does, but I don't tell anybody at work I have this podcast.
Well, I think you badmouth enough people at work. It's like, oh yeah, I was stealing pens from the office the other day.
You know what? I will say that's not true, but I did accidentally steal a fork today from work.
I mean, if you bring it back, is it really stealing?
I'm not going to bring it back, though.
Oh.
I saw it and I was like, well, it's my fork now, I guess.
Are things that rough at the John household?
No, but I'm going to wash the fork and then bring it back.
You don't need to wash it.
It's mine. No. It's my fork now. Regardless.
All right, so my answer on how late is belated. Another point is when your birthday is. You definitely can't wish someone else a belated birthday after your birthday.
What do you mean?
Okay, so let's say my birthday is in October and yours is in January, right?
Yes.
You couldn't be like at like your birthday time, be like, "Oh, happy belated birthday, Caolan." It's like, no, it's your birthday, John.
Because then the focus has shifted.
Yeah.
I suppose it's not a hard and fast rule though. What if our birthdays are close together?
I'm still gonna stick with it.
Anyways, but if our birthdays are close together, then how dare you forget about mine?
I'm giving it a month. I'm giving it until the same day a month later. So, October 27th. Latest you can say it is November 26th.
All right, that's fair. I'll stamp that one down into the ScruffCast rules to live by. Stamped.
Lucky if you're in January and you have a friend born between the most years 29th and 31st. There is no April 30th or 31st. February 30th and 31st. So you actually have until March for your end of January friends.
I guess, but even though it's the same amount of days, it feels like it's longer.
It doesn't matter the date.
Regardless, I stamped it away. We can't change it now. All right, on to the next thing. So speaking of belated, I guess, kind of, we're recording this on Easter Monday.
Oh, yeah.
So yesterday was Easter Sunday. So how was your Easter? What'd you do?
It was good.
Do you celebrate Easter?
Yes, I do. Actually, my girlfriend, historically, just not this year, actually goes around and hides eggs for me. Because
really?
I tend to sleep in and she does not, so she has time to do these things. And
she's an early riser?
Yeah. And she just she gets enjoyment out of watching me try to find eggs in a very sleepy stupor. And then we get to eat chocolate, so that's a great day. So
sounds like a fun time.
It is, yeah. No, I was a little bummed we didn't have a chance to do it this year. She was very down to do so, but we were busy with other commitments. And that gets to what we were doing this Easter. So it was a lot of driving. We live in downtown, but neither of our parents live downtown anymore. So her parents are a 45-minute drive away, and my parents are a 2.5-hour drive away.
And of course, these directions don't overlap whatsoever, do they?
No. It's
no, that would be too easy.
East and the other one's north. So yeah, it was a lot of driving. So I think we did like a Friday night dinner at her parents, which was a round trip same night. And then I did a Sunday night dinner at my parents', but we went up Saturday night to do it because 2.5 hours up and then back in one day would be really tough.
Yeah.
But I had a great time. Saw my people. And yeah.
What do you mean your people?
My people.
I don't like the sounds of this.
I mean, genetically they are my people. They're my parents. They couldn't be more my people. Maybe a twin.
A twin would be more your people.
That's true. What'd you get up to, John?
So I didn't do too much. I just took it easy. A couple family dinners. Just kind of living that lounge life as I usually do.
It's not a bad life.
Not a bad life at all.
How do you feel about reaching the age where you don't really get Easter Monday off anymore?
You know what? Totally blows. And you know what else I miss? March break.
Oh.
Like summer vacation's one thing, but like as you get older, you realize like that's a pipe dream, right? Like nobody gets the summers off unless you're a teacher. But we're not going to get into that. But like, because even when you're in high school, right, you start working. You got to work through the summer and stuff. But you'd still get March break, so you'd at least get that freedom of like, oh, I'm not in school for the week, right?
Even in university, you get reading week kind of thing. Yeah, that's true. That's really the last bastion of time off you give up.
I must say, I love that expression as well. The last bastion.
It's a great expression. The last vestige.
That's unrelated though. But You know what? As you get older, everything just sort of sucks, right? So one of my cousins, we were over at some family's house yesterday, my aunt and uncle's house, for Easter, and my oldest cousin of like the younger group, right? Because me and my sister are much older than the rest of our cousins, so I think she's 15, my cousin, and she's like, what age did you stop like being a kid? Because like I have this one cousin who like plans this insane like Easter egg hunt, and she has like clues and everything hidden all around outside the house in the backyard and all this stuff, right? And they hunt down all the eggs and all this stuff, whatever, and they all get their prizes and tons of candy and stuff. And then my oldest of the younger cousins was like, what age do you stop? Like, is it going to be 1 year? It's just like, oh, you don't get an egg anymore. Because, like, I'm not going around for the treasure hunt. I'm almost 30 years old.
It's interesting how much longer you get to hunt eggs than you get to trick or treat.
Well, that's a good question, but you know what? It's because trick or treating, it's like a dependency outside of your inner circle of family, right?
That is it.
Right, where the egg hunt, because like imagine it's like, come on down to the downtown park for the kids egg hunt, and you show up at like 16, they'd be like but my cousin can like still hunt the eggs around the house, right?
That's
or the
true.
backyard.
It's like Christmas presents,
right?
It's your own personal kind of festivity, so your parents can make it for you or your loved ones, whatever, kind of thing. So that never, it's not a kid only thing, whereas trick or treat is most definitely. They should make adult trick or treat.
But like, here's the thing, right? And I was thinking this yesterday as it was, I was watching these Easter festivities.
I don't know why I called it trick or treat. It's Halloween, but anyways, go on.
As I was watching the Easter festivities, and it's like, you know what? And I already do this now. I just go to like Walmart and I can just buy a bag of candy and sit here and eat it all myself, which is what I already do, right?
I'm like, sounds like a Tuesday for John.
Exactly. But like, I'm a little better now, so I'm gonna be like, no, can't buy that candy. Get away. Otherwise, because if I buy that candy, I'm eating it, no problem.
Yeah. So I went up to my parents, and they had a little basket of Easter things, eggs and chocolates and stuff. So that was nice. I was like, oh, thank you. So had the Laura Secord mini eggs, which are a close second to the Cadbury mini eggs. The candy's a bit thicker, so it's actually a substantial bite.
I didn't know that a Laura Secord made
Yeah, me neither. I learned that this year. I also had the selection, like the no-name Metro type brand.
Yeah.
Of the again, pretty good.
Caolan's candy and chocolate review.
Oh, I could
provided by the ScruffCast.
I could fill many an hour with me talking about food. Much like I fill many hours eating food. Okay, so I go and I see these gold foiled chocolates, and I was like, oh, it's the Lindt chocolate rabbit, the classic high-end kind of Easter treat.
Yeah, a little bougie.
Yeah, a little bougie. They also have the reindeer for Christmas, the Lindt gold reindeer. But
I don't remember seeing those.
Yeah, sometimes you think it's the reindeer, but it's actually a really old rabbit, and vice versa. Anyway, so I see what appears to be that, but it wasn't, because John, the world has gone far beyond just Lindt chocolate rabbits. What was there was in fact a Ferrero Rocher squirrel. I kid you not.
They had to do them one better. Ferrero Rocher.
It's really good. I actually haven't had one. I have one at home. My girlfriend ate hers because she's a big fan of the Rochers or the Ferreros.
I was gonna say, how many Rochers are there?
What do you mean? Oh, that's a great question.
A big fan of the Rochers.
The big fan of the Rochers. I can't say I know another Rocher. I wonder, is it the name of the chocolatier, like Ferrero Rocher?
I think so.
It could also be
it comes from the same family that also owns Nutella, I think.
Really? That seems unlikely. I don't know about that one.
I almost want to fact check to prove myself correct.
We're going to do the post-ScruffCast fact check.
Yeah, we don't do that live on the podcast.
That's more of a personal betting war between me and John over the years.
Yeah, so good Easter all around?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Stamp. On to the next thing.
We linger too long when Caolan's around.
Now, speaking of food, the next topic. I have Caolan, my food expert, here on the podcast. So I've had this burning topic, and I almost wonder if Dan's going to be upset he's missing out. I want to talk about condiments. Your ketchups, your sauces, your mustard, your relish, and I want to rank them, right? we don't have to go, necessarily 1, 2, 3, but I want to get like the tiers,
Yeah,
like, where do these condiments rank? Because, I can see listeners out there being like, oh my God, they're going to talk about condiments, but you don't understand. You're going to have opinions on this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Condiments are essential.
No.
A world without condiments, I don't want to live in.
And like the easy questions, like give me your top 3 and your bottom 3 condiments. It's
really, right. That's a good way to start it off.
Yeah, and there's a lot in the middle, and you can always rank a condiment. I give you 3 condiments. You know your favorite. You know your least favorite.
That's true. You can easily rank them.
It's divisive.
So
I mean, there was the whole you did a segment last week or the week before on colored ketchup.
Oh yes, ew. But the number 1 condiment, and this is like undebatable, so you have to agree unless you want me to kick you out of my house. King of the condiments is ketchup, non-colored, just red, the default one.
I mean, it's hard to debate.
The
only thing I would consider competing with that is if we really bend the rules of what a condiment is.
Well, that depends. What do you have in mind?
Like, is nacho cheese a condiment?
Oh, I don't know. Like, you mean like you can get the jar of like the already done cheese? No,
that's queso. But I mean that like rubbery ass stuff you get at the movie theater.
Yeah, okay, that's sort of what I was
because you can dispense it, and I feel like a condiment has to be dispensable. For example, cream cheese is not a condiment, or is it actually? Is butter a condiment?
No, I wouldn't describe those as condiments. Okay. Although cream cheese is delicious.
It's so good. We'll talk about that later.
Yes. Okay, I like the requirement of it being dispensable.
Yeah. So
my top 3 would be ketchup, chipotle, and that might be it. I don't even need a top 3. Top 2.
I mean, chipotle is a good choice. Like, that's tough because is it only sauces?
I guess. Well, what other kind of condiments are there?
Like vinegar.
Sure, vinegar can count as a condiment.
Vinegar.
That's bottom 3.
No,
get that out of here.
All right, excuse me. Salt and vinegar are essentials for fries.
No, terrible. Salt, sure.
No, salt and vinegar.
But
do you not eat salt and vinegar chips?
Fries? No, because they like burn your mouth as you eat them. Why do I want to eat chips that are burning me away?
Says the guy who put Chipotle second. Like, I'm not listening to this argument.
Really? What's better? What's above Chipotle besides ketchup?
I'm just saying you like burning your mouth because you like eating Chipotle.
Yeah, but that's like a flavor burn.
That's a flavor.
It's like salt. If I have a cut, like on my lip or something, and I go and eat a salt and vinegar chip, can't do that.
So if I go get a Chipotle pepper right now and rub that on your cut, you're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be happy.
But I'm not talking about like raw peppers. I'm talking about the sauce, like a barbecue sauce.
Well, then you're talking about Chipotle barbecue.
Sure, if you want to classify it differently. well, I'm not talking about like just squeezing the raw peppers or something.
Yeah, or like there's like Chipotle pepper. See, you just said Chipotle. That's just a pepper. That's like me saying jalapeno, right?
Okay, Chipotle barbecue sauce for the listeners out there updating the rankings.
I'm gonna withdraw my
your condemnation of my condiments.
Condemnation of the condiments. Very good, John.
But I'm gonna say if we're looking for bottom tier, like horseradish, is that a condiment?
Oh, I'm gonna make it a condiment just so we can put it at the bottom.
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcester sauce, yeah.
Worcester, whatever.
There's nothing wrong with Worcester. So you don't,
bruh. It has worst in the name. It's because it's the worst.
It's an ingredient. It's not really a condiment. You don't really put it on many things.
I bet you somewhere in the world they'd put it on stuff.
Ooh, like fries? Right, with the vinegar? Oh, can I put balsamic vinegar way below white vinegar, by the way?
Below? Yeah. Are you out of your mind?
No,
dude, you get the olive oil, you get the balsamic with the bread. You're in for a good... If they bring out the bread with the balsamic and the olive oil, you know you're in for a good meal.
Those condiments. I'm still struggling with this. Is vinegar a condiment?
Do I have to look up what the definition of condiment is?
I just want your hard opinion. Uneducated opinion, please.
Hard opinion? Okay. This might be a hot take, but if you disagree, I don't care. I'm talking to not just you, but the listeners. Mustard, the devil's condiment.
What?
It could be eliminated from existence.
There's nothing wrong with mustard.
Besides the fact that it sucks and it's just gross.
I think like a rough definition of a condiment is something you can put on a burger, and that is a staple.
Picture this. You're sitting there eating French fries, dipping it in, your condiment of choice. and it's mustard. A little dab of mustard on the plate. Ooh, give me the
I've
heebie-jeebies.
seen people eat mayo with fries.
Okay, mayo is a whole other beast. Okay, mayo is undoubtedly a condiment.
Yeah,
and just straight up like mayo, I don't enjoy it. But like sometimes if it's like on a sandwich or something, like, you know, you go out for a nice meal, it's like part of the burger or something, I'll deal.
Is there a difference between aioli and mayo? I feel like there isn't. It's just like sounding less fat when you eat it.
I think, well, it's usually a nice garlic aioli.
Yeah, but what's the difference between garlic aioli and garlic mayo?
Garlic mayo is mayo that's been garlicked. Garlic aioli is an aioli that was made of garlic.
I'm pretty sure aioli and mayo are the same thing.
If they're the same thing, then why is it two different words?
It's just the fancy way to say it.
No. We're not talking about like...
It's marketing.
No. Aioli. An aioli is different.
An aioli.
An aioli. Well, what's the plural form of aioli?
It's aioli. It is plural. It's like mayo. You don't say mayonnaise.
Ooh.
It's the same.
Well, because thing. You know what? Because
you don't say ketchup.
That's correct. That is true. But it's because ketchup is like the substance, right? So it's like you're measuring it in the quantity of it, right? So like you have like a drop of ketchup. Ketchup is the whole thing.
It's like water.
Because what's a singular of ketchup? There's no such thing as singular.
Probably a drop
of condiment's like a liquid. You don't say a water. If you go to a restaurant and say, "Can I have a water?" They're bringing you a glass because that's the typically, the norm. But
no, it's true. Frank's Red Hot, like hot sauce in general, pretty high.
I will, on my personal rankings, not that high because I don't appreciate that level of spiciness, but I do appreciate the quality of the sauce itself for the others to enjoy it. But for me, nah. Above mustard though. Mustard is probably the bottom, the absolute bottom. I hate mustard so much.
I went to McDonald's today. Shocking, I know. I went to McDonald's today thinking I had a coupon that I didn't have because it only worked from 1 to midnight. It did not work at my lunch hour. And I'm really upset about that, but I'm moving on.
From 1 p.m.
I'm moving
to midnight?
On.
Okay.
Who makes a coupon that doesn't work at lunch? But I'm moving on. So I look up and I see my classic chicken McNugget meal, and right beside I see, now with hot barbecue or hot sauce of some form. And I was like, might be a nice change from my normal barbecue choice. So I request, hey, can I have the thing? And they mess it up, so I went back, hey, can I have the hot barbecue, please? You're advertising up there. They said, yeah, sure. Reaches down, hands me 2 packets and the other ketchup I was missing, right? And the vinegar, because I put vinegar on my fries. So
I thought you were going to put them on your McNuggets, and I was about to just...
I'm not an animal.
I was about to get mad.
About to end the podcast right
Not
there.
even my McNuggets, but I'm getting angry. You're doing it incorrect.
So I grab all that, bring it back to my chair. I'm sitting with my friend at work. We're talking Leafs. And I roll out the packets, and it's hot mustard. So
Not even hot can save mustard.
And I was quite upset because I thought it was hot sauce or hot barbecue, whatever the advertising. I'm not giving McDonald's the credit here because they messed up. They don't even get the name of their proper limited time sauce with their coupons ending at whatever, midnight. Anyways.
So, you're giving it the official ScruffCast thumbs down?
I mean, McDonald's is the worst fast food chain. But that's a whole other ranking we got to do.
That's a whole other discussion.
That's a whole other ranking.
The worst?
I mean, it's the worst burger chain. Of the fast food burgers, it's the worst burger.
Listeners who can't even see my face is just... my mouth is just... I'm just... blown away right now. A McDonald's cheeseburger, just a classic cheeseburger,
is a good way to get me sick. Yep.
Is perfection.
Nope.
Is perfection. Those little onions.
Nope.
So good. I don't even like onions. And dude, I love McDonald's.
All right, I'm going to change my mind.
Level.
It's the second worst because Burger King is pretty bad.
Burger King is not as good as McDonald's.
Yeah.
Because McDonald's is like the Heinz ketchup of condiments of food, right? It's like they're the king.
You and your brand name ketchup.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go no name. But then they tried to do like French's ketchup.
No, there's
French, just get out the game. Get out the game.
Yeah, but at least French's makes their stuff in Canada. That was a whole like national protest.
I was not nationally protesting. I was just scooping up. Give me all the Heinz ketchup. Delicious. Okay, just because it's made here, if it's not as good, I don't want it.
I feel like you made fun of me for having no-name ketchup once at my house.
There are 2 people who buy no-name brand of certain products.
One of them's Caolan. Go on.
Namely ketchup. The first group, people who are like desperately poor and in poverty. Them, I'll give them a pass, okay?
All right.
The second are psychopaths.
What about cheap people? They're just cheap.
There's some things you can cheap out on, okay? But ketchup is not one of them.
I had no name peanut butter too. How do you feel about that?
I don't know if that's worse, but it's really up there, okay? It's just really up there. I remember one time my mom bought, what was it, like Skippy or something? Oh, I nearly just scapped right out of there.
Skippy's a good brand or something.
No,
Skippy's a name brand.
It's a name brand, okay, but
I know it's not Kraft.
What did you say it was? You said it's a good brand? Caolan,
It's a
I
name
only
brand.
got 80 to 85 if I'm lucky, short years on this life before my mortal coil comes to an end, okay? I don't have time to waste on good. I need excellent. I need the best of the best, and I need Kraft if I'm having peanut butter.
I think of all the like alternatives you've selected in your life, but you're drawing the line at the light spread of peanut butter you put on some toast.
Because these are things I can control, okay? It's easy to control. Especially when it's like, Mom, why are you cheaping out on the peanut butter? Because I wasn't paying for it, right? Now that I'm paying for it, I still get Kraft.
There you go.
It's so good. Truth be told, actually, since I moved away from living at home with my parents, I took a leftover of like a giant jar of peanut butter, and it's still kind of lasted me a little bit. So I haven't had to buy peanut butter yet.
John's mom, I hope you're learning a lot about your son here.
Oh yeah.
First of all, he thinks he can control you and your peanut butter purchases. Although I know I'm not on her good side right now because I know she's on Team McDonald's with you.
Yeah, dude, because McDonald's is the best. But I will say, never again was any peanut butter purchased that wasn't Kraft in that household after I put up a big stink.
Because you threw a tantrum.
Yeah, I don't even know if we ate it all. It was terrible. Regardless, we've been going on about food for too long.
Again, I could do the whole podcast on food.
We probably could. The food cast.
I do the food cast.
That's got to be. There's already probably going to be podcasts about food. People who know much more. Because always says,
chefs.
"This is good. This is bad." Regardless,
Wendy's is the better burger of the fast food chains.
Better how though? Why is it better?
In flavor and construct and price. Like it's just a better,
in price.
It's
Dude,
more.
Wendy's
it's,
is way more expensive.
It's worth the money though.
Worth the money.
Like McDonald's, I'm like, oh, I paid that much for cardboard. That's great. I'm calling it cardboard.
Cardboard.
That's right.
This is why you haven't been on in 35 episodes.
At me, McDonald's.
This is why we mercilessly roast you all the time.
At me, McDonald's. Let's go.
Dude, I'd love it if McDonald's was somehow listening to this ScruffCast. Dude, I love McDonald's.
So fast.
Dude, I love
you
McDonald's.
You want to
so
practice
good.
a plug for McDonald's?
I'll say whatever it is they want. Have you seen the movie The Founder? No. Dude, even the story of how McDonald's was made was magical. A businessman who stole the idea from two other people became a billionaire.
Would you pay more for a movie ticket if you could have McDonald's at the theater?
Where does that extra money go to?
I suppose the licensing of a McDonald's franchise within the theater.
So if it's supporting McDonald's? But no, you know what? I don't want everybody in the theater eating McDonald's.
Why?
Because it smells too delicious. I'm not going to be able to concentrate on the movie.
Yeah, but you're having McDonald's too. It's fine.
Dude, how long is a movie?
An hour and a half.
How long is my McDonald's going to last? Barely past the previews.
I mean, are you counting digestion time? I'm still putting it under 15 minutes.
I'm talking purely about the amount I'm enjoying.
I don't know.
Right? Like the length of time.
You eat faster than me. No, you eat slower than me.
Dude, because it's like eating cheeseburger flavored crack cocaine. You just gobble it up so good.
I pre-eat at the theater. Like I eat before the movie starts. I'm done eating by the time.
Exactly. Like they would need to be bringing it out like at the start of the movies.
But I'm a nachos guy. I'm not a popcorn guy.
You know what? I'm a candy guy.
I'm back to the nacho cheese. It's the best condiment.
Most definitely not. Ketchup is the king. We'll just have to agree to disagree.
All right, moving
listeners, I know the listeners have feelings on these. Please email us at scruffcast@gmail.com. Caolan, because I'm assuming you won't be on the podcast next week, feel free to email in to talk about your own thoughts.
Hey, that Caolan guy had some really good points.
And we'll just mercilessly shred you.
I mean, what's the difference between that and the past 3 weeks? I don't think I haven't been listening. Like, have you really run out of content?
Well, you know what? You roll with the punches, and look at you now. You made the show. Here you are.
You got to take your beats to make the gang, you know?
That's the way it goes, as you may have heard last week, where we locked one of our friends in a trunk to become friends with us.
Oh, God, what an awful
All
thing.
right. Now, moving on from... We're already at a pretty lengthy podcast.
Yeah, that's
but
fine.
Dan's not around, so he can't complain about how long the podcast is.
He's not editing it. It's fine.
No. The next little thing I had here was recently, I believe about a week and a half ago, the Notre Dame, I know you pronounce it differently than me.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Cathedral in France burnt down. Or, well, a good portion of it burned.
Had a fire.
Yes, it had a fire. It sort of led to the, all these billionaires out there started like pledging some of their funds to help restore it and stuff. And it kind of leads to this bigger discussion of like, what's worth preserving?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Right.
So like we have this issue in North America where everything is so new compared to the old world, right? Because like native structures weren't particularly impressive or built for longevity, right? So
look at us, the white man here 200 years later. The structures weren't particularly impressive. A poo-poo!
All right. I apologize to the native community. Your wigwams and everything were definitely worth.
You know what? We had to learn about them in school. So
yeah,
but you're correct, right? Like the cathedral is like itself was like 800 years old.
Yeah, that's
like the United States of America is only barely older than 250 years.
Right, but like if you look at things we built now, in theory, we could build them to last longer, but like we're not preserving our elementary school. Like who cares? Like it's like knock that thing down and build a new one. Let's go. I think I live near an old fire hall that got converted into like a makeup school or something like that. Sometimes we reuse stuff, but the fact is, it's just not something we currently feel like are worth preserving. And yet, something like Notre Dame, which is 800 years old, we're like, oh, that's whatever, an achievement in human architecture, and et cetera, and it's been like knocked down, it's been burnt down in the past. Like it's had fires, it's had replacements, it was undergoing like renovations, so they obviously were keeping it going. But like there's a massive difference between something that seems to be of like cultural and of heritage importance kind of thing.
Let me ask you this: if something like that happened to the CN Tower, which is like CN Tower is, huge, so it's kind of on a different scale. But I'm thinking of terms of like cultural significance to Canada, right? Would we be like, crying about it? Would like, Canadian billionaires be like, we have to refund it?
Absolutely,
it's so important to our culture.
And I'll tell you what, John, it could fall onto the Sky Dome, which I would argue is more important than the CN Tower. And they still wouldn't fix it.
I'm of the same mind.
They would fix neither of them. It doesn't matter. But I was actually reading a thread about this conversation where the people asked the question, what is the equivalent of the Notre Dame burning down in your country that you live, right?
So Canada is tough because we are not that old.
Yeah, exactly. And so like, I actually got to someone who answered for Canada, right? And they joked, oh, there's nothing worth burning down, et cetera, et cetera. Then someone had a somewhat serious answer. Apparently there's some older cathedrals in Quebec and all right, maybe the best answer.
You know how the ScruffCast feels about Quebec.
Oh, bottom of the rung. Is that below or above Buffalo?
Below.
Oh, they're the McDonald's of the ScruffCast. Oof. All right. Anyways, John loves McDonald's. The best answer I saw was Banff National Park.
Just a huge forest fire just took the whole thing out. That's a good one.
National park, which I agree with. I think
it's a good answer.
New World, in quotes, has way more objects of kind of nature historical value kind of thing.
I think it comes down to the like irreplaceability, if that's even a word of it, right?
Good word though.
Right? Because like you think of like, Notre Dame, you rebuild it. It's not the same, right? Mm-hmm. Even if it's reconstructed, it's like it's not in its original form. The same thing, like if you, we like Canadians lost, Banff National Park, and then replant all these trees and they grew back. It's not the same.
It'd be a young forest, yeah.
Yeah, right. Like,
and there's the Great
because it can't
Barrier
be
Reef.
replaced.
Yeah,
right.
Although there's that like philosophy question about someone's ship. If you take one board off a ship and replace it, is it still the same ship? And if you just do that over and over again, do you have a completely new ship, or is it the same ship?
I was asked a similar question in my grade 11 world religions class. We were learning about Buddhism, and they said, you have an axe, okay? The blade on the axe gets dull, so you replace the blade. Mm-hmm. Is it the same axe? You'd say yeah, right? Okay. That same axe that you've already replaced the blade. Now the handle breaks. You replace the handle. Is it the same axe as it originally was?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure,
It's like a philosophical question. Right? Listeners are just loving this philosophy talk, I'm sure.
Like, is this going to be the least watched podcast ever? That's the real question.
Ever? No, maybe.
If you take a podcast and replace one of the hosts with someone really boring, is it the same podcast?
Ooh.
What if you replace it with another host? Is it still the same podcast? Tune in next week to find out.
Well, you know what? I think maybe if you have the branding, right? Because you still have that strong ScruffCast brand. Rated one of the top 100 brands.
Yeah, I believe that.
By myself.
The Ipsos survey? Oh, the John survey. Okay.
Yeah, we're right behind McDonald's. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, another beloved brand.
Again, I prefer Pepsi.
I prefer the taste of Pepsi, but damn, you just look at Coca-Cola's logo and you're just like, just feel refreshed. That's how you know they have good branding.
Remember when they had the battle with the like sponsorship between like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera?
No.
Well,
I don't remember this.
It was just like...
Is that what we need preserved?
Should we preserve the internet? Archive.org? Or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the internet's already come a long way. You look back at... Because I actually discovered this thing last week. There was... if you type Google in 1998 into Google, it like shows you the search results as if it was Google back in 1998.
Wow.
Just a little interesting fact.
Yeah.
What else did I have on my list here? Ah, yes, another deep question after all the condiment talk. This one was actually suggested by Caolan. What makes music good?
Yeah.
As in, what's the most important part of a song/track?
Yep. I think like this is a good question for us because we listen to very different types of music.
Yes, I prefer, your electronic music, some Deadmau5, some EDM, some Eric Prydz.
Yeah. And I'm more on the kind of rock and punk and folk range of music kind of thing. Like,
no, folk has no place in my music.
Have you listened to funk polk? Or punk folk?
Aren't those little like figurines they sell at EB Games?
No, it's like
Funko Pops.
The idea is kind of almost like acoustic punk. The idea and just really lyrically dense and advanced music, but it's really about the meaning of the songs. But
no, I have no time for that. It sounds very hipstery. It's very about the meaning of the songs.
I mean, if you don't hear the words of the song, is it really worth listening to? That's my kind of standards, which is why electronic music doesn't typically do it for me.
Sure, but then why don't you just listen to poetry then?
There's nothing wrong with listening to poetry. Rhythm's nice, though. I wouldn't listen to poetry. I'm not going to pretend I'm that deep, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, who are you?
Who is this guy?
But, well, I think it's because, I'm working software, so I'm, on a computer all day. And if I listen to stuff with lyrics, like even if I like listen to a podcast, right? Which I guess in itself is just spoken words. So maybe if you listen to the podcast, you're deep.
I mean, ScruffCast is new age poetry, really.
Yeah.
You can add that to the
just
description.
A couple of guys making fun of a world taking itself too seriously.
There you go.
But,
have you updated the YouTube description yet?
No. It says we talk about sports and stuff.
We've never talked about sports.
Well, we talked about like Tiger Woods last week.
I guess.
We talked about condiments. That kind of ties in like professional eating.
I mean, it is almost the same thing. Eating is almost a sport.
What was I saying?
Talking about music, John.
Oh, yes, because I was talking about how I, work on a computer all day. So if I listen to stuff with lyrics, I either get distracted by the lyrics or I'm too focused on what I'm working on that I'm not listening to lyrics. So I just find it easier to listen to instrumental stuff. I like listening to like soundtracks from various movies or video games as well. It's usually good.
Yeah, but I want the music to engross me. I want it to be my like dedication of time kind of thing. Like I want to engage with it. And it's hard to do when it's just like background noise, which is kind of what you're describing to me.
That's fair. Well, in the case scenario where I'm working, it definitely is. Yeah. But
that's
I also find I want the music. What'd you say? You want the music to engage me? Yeah, I want the music to engage me, not the lyrics.
No, the lyrics is part of the music. That's what makes it a song.
No, if I want profound, deep thoughts, I just listen to the other 50 episodes of ScruffCast before this one.
What is the best condiment?
What's the best condiment?
How late is it when you can't say belated anymore?
How late can you say belated? And other beloved topics like how far away can you hold the door open for an old lady?
Oh, God, that was a nightmare. I was listening to that and having like fits. and you were talking about the escalator too. That was a great episode.
Those were 2 different episodes. You don't even really listen.
You know what? That's entirely untrue.
Well, it's true that you listen, but those were two different episodes.
I mean, I'm not up on ScruffCast lore, but
the ScruffCast has a deep lore.
It has a deep lore.
Yeah.
It has different character arcs. Remember when they used to do articles? Bring back the articles.
We used to do art. Yes. So if anybody, I don't know how. I can only imagine the experience for a listener who is like somehow discovered us. Because if you're out there, you should really be sharing the ScruffCast with your friends. I'd start them off like episode 20-ish.
I like the early stuff. I'm not
the early stuff like 15, 16, 17 is where it really gets good.
I mean, the worst episode, I think, was the episode you started talking about Stranger Things and then said, okay, we're going to have spoilers, so don't listen. And I was like, nope, can't listen. And I never heard that part of the ScruffCast.
Well, the whole idea is you'd watch Stranger Things season 2 and then you go back.
It's on my list. I've got a big backlog of shows like you have a backlog of games, you know.
Yeah, and I specifically have spoiler casts waiting for me when I finish games.
True.
It's called restraint. It's the same thing that stops me from buying the bags of candy.
Oh, so many tiebacks in this episode.
Too many tiebacks.
So many tiebacks.
That's why I said we're profound. But, okay, you think the lyrics are the most important part?
I think bad lyrics can ruin a song. And I think it's hard for me to be engaged with the song if I don't know what they're saying. Which is why I have a hard time with some heavy rock music. Because I can't hear the words they're saying because they're screaming it.
I feel like you can have a song with bad lyrics and it will go by fine, but if the music itself is bad, it has no chance.
You're right. Yeah.
Imagine it had just majestic. It just makes you weep. Okay, the lyrics, but it's like, so let me tell you about the lyric story. Well, like you'd be like, oh my god, I can't listen to this.
Last week they were talking about musicals they had to do in grade 8, I guess. Yeah. What the part they didn't tell was that John got to be Frank Sinatra singing New York.
I said I got the opening number, but I didn't go into all the detail. Don't make the listeners jealous.
But there's something beautiful about John hitting the high notes of New York.
Start spread. I can't even say it because we're gonna get copyright strikes on YouTube.
New York. It's really cruel to be a teacher and make kids who are right in the midst of puberty sing songs in front of people.
That's true.
It's just downright inappropriate. Teachers, listen up. Be nice to children. Don't make them sing when they're going through puberty. All right? Singing when they're like little kids and it's that kind of like everyone has the same pitch and they're singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or whatever. Fine. Totally okay. Making 13-year-old boys try to understand the depth of like Frank Sinatra and hit those notes when their voice is just in tatters from deciding on its final pitch.
Tathers.
Its final pitch.
I'm going to say that expression's never been used on the ScruffCast before.
Yeah. And the more you leave me on, the more your reputation will be in it. So, in tathers, that is. All right. So, anyways, music. Yes, listeners, write in. Like, tell us what you think matters in a song. Like, what makes a track worth listening to? Is it just what's on the top 50? Is it the beat? Are you a fitness fanatic? Do you need that rhythm to pound your feet to the pavement to?
I think one of the most important parts of a song is the title.
Ooh.
If it's got a bad title, no bueno.
I don't know. I can't agree with that. There's so many songs I love that I don't know the name of.
I guess.
I'll give you an example, but as I described.
But a bad title can like ruin a song too.
I don't know. No.
Yeah, like think of a beloved song, like Thriller. Okay. Piano Man. Okay, and imagine instead it was called like I don't know, something shitty. Rhythm Guy.
Kumquat.
Sure, right?
That would be an awful name of a song, though.
That would be an awful name for a song.
But you know what?
Or like imagine Thriller and they just called it like Spooky Guy. You'd be like, oh, it's so bad.
But I could see
terrible title.
I could see like someone like Skrillex or something, progressive house.
Well, there's various genres within it. But actually, I will tell you this: in the electronic music, since most of the time there's no lyrics, the title isn't that important because one artist I particularly like is Deadmau5, and he has a lot of shitty titles for his songs.
Yeah, he could release Kumquat tomorrow, and I bet you'd listen to it all the time.
Oh, probably. He has an album called "Album Name Goes Here."
Ooh,
literally untitled, or he has another one called Random Album Title.
You know what I don't like?
This is no title.
Self-titled albums.
Self-titled? Why not?
it's annoying to list albums if one of them is self-titled, especially in the case, I'm going to give an example, Blink-182, where they released albums before and after it. Because I can't just call it, oh, I like Blink-182. I really liked, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. I really liked Blink-182, and I really like Neighborhoods, right? Like,
yeah, but then you would just say their self-titled album,
which is stupid, right? Like, you should just come up with a name, because I have to stick a whole bunch of words into it anyways to describe it. I got to call it the self-titled album,
I guess. But if you released an album and you called it self-titled album, people would be like, oh, he's being a little too cute.
Yeah, that would be very hipster, and I have no doubt that's already happened.
Oh, 100%.
I wonder if anything good came out of an album called self-titled album.
I highly doubt it, but you know what? I bet you search on Spotify, and there's like probably 5, 6, 7 of them.
You know what else you find on Spotify? The ScruffCast.
The ScruffCast, yes. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram and Twitter. Anywhere to your heart's content.
Are you on Facebook Music?
Facebook music isn't a thing.
No, I know, but
give it a week. Say, you even spooked me to what?
Give it a week.
Give it a week. I'm surprised I haven't made a push in the music realm. But with that said, on to the question to ponder, which has nothing to do with music at all. Caolan, would you like to take the honors?
I don't know what the question to ponder is, so no.
Ooh, okay, I'll take the honors.
If you want to toss the phone over, I'll read it, but
I don't want to toss the phone. Question to ponder for this week. Listeners, write in, including you, Caolan. If you could go back in time, this was suggested by Caolan as well.
Oh, right.
To any moment of your life, and you get to rewind for 15 seconds for like a quick redo or fix of something, what moment would you pick? Essentially, think of it as like a small do-over. So you can't think like, oh, I'd go back and like, I wouldn't drop out of college or something. Because like, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about like a quick whoop. Like, it can't be like, too life-altering a decision, I don't think.
No, it has to be something that takes 15 seconds to fix, not something that's like a year's worth of like, whatever, decision-making kind of thing.
Okay, but what if it's like, I was walking home from school and I turned, down one street and I got, my person I was walking with got stabbed.
Yeah, you could fix that. Because you would turn
really?
down
But that's
the
like a
other way.
huge change, right? They got stabbed to death.
Right, but the things that led up to it were only a few steps, right? Whereas if you went back to the moment you were about to quit college and rewinded 15 seconds and didn't, an hour later you would probably still go and quit college.
Okay.
Right? So I'll give you an example, John.
Well, you can't answer the questions to ponder.
No, but I feel like this won't be your answer. I'm going to give an example of something you could change in your life. Remember when you threw that pop can at my head?
Oh, I don't remember this.
Yeah, it was great. We were friends, and you decided that it'd be more fun to impress all the little wildlings we were in school with.
Caolan, it was episode 50. I had to tell the story. Come on.
I forgive you, John. I forgave you on the walk down to the office.
And just like I said in the story.
And if I could go back in time, I would make sure I tattled on John and absolutely nipped that in the butt. Because that would only take 15 seconds to fix,
You know what? I guarantee if you had done that, you probably wouldn't be on the podcast right now. Not because I'd be mad, but because the whole ripple effect of everything would have changed.
The butterfly effect's weird, man.
Butterfly effect's weird. Butterfly flaps its wings in Taiwan. Boom! Famine on the other side of the world. Everybody dies. Isn't that how it goes?
Which is why we killed all the butterflies in Taiwan.
No, there you go. They're outlawed there, actually. It's a true fact.
It's illegal to be a butterfly in Taiwan. Did you know that? Facts from the ScruffCast.
Does any of them listen to the podcast? They're not from Taiwan. I checked the statistics. All right. I think that'll do it. I mean, we're sitting at an hour and almost 8 minutes here. Dan's probably mortified right now. Why the podcast go so long? Listeners going to have so many expectations. I really hope they don't, because I don't think we delivered an hour and 8 minutes worth of, all killer, no filler. There's a bit of filler in there.
There's been a lot of This is mostly filler. I'm literally a fill-in.
That is true. So, listeners, I had a couple different options this week. I could have either done no podcast, rambled by myself, or call in an esteemed guest. And Anthony lives in New Brunswick, so I went to Caolan, right here.
The backup esteemed guest.
Backup, because technically Anthony is the most experienced because he was on twice.
It's true.
But he doesn't listen, so now you guys are even, actually. But no, you know what? You're in a bit of higher esteem because you took the co-host seat.
That's true.
So,
yeah, I'm not third chair. I'm second chair.
Yes.
What does Danny call it? The talent.
The talent, yes. You show up. Look, I even put a little, block heater next to you. Gave you a nice little blanket so you're all warm and cozy. Brought you a bottle of water.
Sound like I'm like bedridden.
No, you're just sitting back comfy in my leather chair.
And John came and saved me.
Yep. The ScruffCast. Savor the people. All right. You know what, dude? We don't have Dan to do the outro this time.
We got to make something up.
Yeah, we can't end it like we normally do. So I want to hear your trademark sign off, if you will.
All right, everyone. That's another week of ScruffCasting. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, and listen every week from here on out. Goodbye. As I'm watching her go, all I'm thinking is, oh damn that bad thing. I can tell you're really good at distracting. Like, is nacho cheese a condiment?
Oh, I don't know.